Hello faculty, this is Brian Henry. Wanted to share with you my master's project, and we'll be presenting this via the flip video. I hope you enjoy. The intro animation gave hints to the problems I face as a teacher that I wanted to solve. The problem: students' comprehension levels in math were really low. My students' instruction and remediation time was too short, and the students were not truly engaged in the math class, and wanted to see what kind of solutions could be done, and I chose one. It's called flipped instruction. I wanted to give my kids more time in class to explore the subject with me, and so I decided to use flipped teaching. This was different from the traditional teaching paradigm in which I give a lecture and then homework and send that home. The flipped paradigm, this new view, which is coming into play pretty heavily in the education industry, is teaching via video, like what you're watching, and then the teacher does the homework with the kids in class. And this would be good for more time, for remediation and individualization. I'll show you the kids' test scores next, and then we'll get into the results. These scores were kind of the reason that I chose math as my project with my students. I have 5 8th graders, and these are their test scores. You can see test subject A, B, C, and D, and so on. And I want you to take a notice at their math grade equivalency. So they're in 8th grade, but if you look at what the standardized test score, this is their ITBS, the Iowa Test of Basic Skills, their math level is really low. I do have student C here, which is kind of an anomaly. This student came in, actually skipped a grade, and is doing much better than the rest of the class, and there are huge holes in their math understanding, and it shows here with computation. These numbers here are the grade equivalency, and you can also look right here. These numbers mean the number attempted and the total number that were available. So if you can look at some of these percentages, this student here got 3 out of 3. This student over here, 29%, meaning 5 out of 14 of the questions. So if you look at the average correct, they're pretty low. This prompted me to want to try to do something to help them. I needed to help remediate, give them more time, give them more explanation, make them feel more confident about what they're doing. So we decided to go and flip things. Briefly want to go over the traditional schedule. 60 minutes is the time allotted for each class period, and you can take here that you can see 5 minutes, a little bit of skill review, and this is where a worksheet was given to the kids. And I found an issue with this when giving them the worksheet. They didn't want to finish it. Many of them did not take the time to do that. And then we had some assignment correction, and then we had our instruction time, and then guided practice. And this traditional schedule, I found problems in these areas right here. Having enough time to introduce the new topic, and having the course correction here, and then the other problem, the kids not finishing their skills. That was an issue, and it showed within their math scores with the quiz and tests and practices. Here are the quiz and test scores of the unflipped teaching paradigm. I want you to notice up here on the quizzes that the class average percentage was a D. And you can also take notice of these Fs. The kids were failing. They were not doing very well. Same on the tests. You can see that we have a D and an F there, and this was problematic. I was having kids do this, for a good majority of the year, and I wanted to do something different and wanted to try the flipped teaching paradigm to see if that made a difference, and it did. Using the same allotted time, 60 minutes right here, I did a couple of things differently with the flipped teaching model. I made sure that the kids had time to work with their homework in class, and that was based that they looked at the flipped video the night before, and they came in prepared to learn. It worked great. One of the larger differences between the flipped and unflipped class time is I have 45 full minutes of working with the kids. And that is a great time frame considering the other one was split between 20 minutes, 25 minutes after doing all of the preliminaries to get to the actual coursework. This made a big difference. And we'll look at these test scores next. These results from the flipped teaching model show a marked improvement in the scores. Namely, the class average jumped up. It was a D before, and it changed to a B. And you can see for their test too. If you look at all these scores here from this Chapter 4 section, there's no failing. There is still, some average. There's some low here. There's a D. There's a C, which is average, but there's no failing, and that is important to note. So next you're going to take a look at one of the videos to give you an example of what the kids saw, and we'll go from there. This picture is important. Tofu! Welcome to lesson 4.3. Today we're going to be looking at subtracting mixed numbers and going ahead and looking at multiplying with powers of 10. All right, look at the bottom of the page to see what's happening for tomorrow in class. Woo! Let's get down to business. Let's start it off by subtracting 7 1/4 minus 3 2/3. You can see that there. The first thing that we need to do is get common denominators so that we can actually do subtracting. So I'm going to multiply this top fraction by 3. And that 3, let me undo that. And we'll do the bottom fraction by 4. Okay. And when we get the new fractions, you'll see that we're going to have 7 3/12. And then we'll have 3 8/12. Now we can actually do our subtracting. But I must remember that I cannot subtract just yet because I cannot take 8 away from 3. So I'm going to take a whole away from this side, and that is actually 12 over 12, and I'm going to add it to the 3/12. So I will actually get 6 15/12. Okay, now I can subtract the 3 8/12. When I do that, I will actually get 6 minus 3 is 3, and then 15 minus 8 is 7, and then I will get 12 on the bottom. This is now solved, 3 7/12. Let's try another one. So we're going to do 4 3/5 minus 1 3/10. As you can notice here that the top fraction has a denominator of 5, so we need to multiply that by 2 so we can get a common denominator of 10. And when we've done that, we're actually going to get 4 6/10. Now we can subtract. We'll say 4 6/10 minus, let me undo that, 4 6/10 minus 1 3/10. And that'll actually be 3 3/10. It's solved. Next we're going to do, how did I say that? We are going to do multiplication by power of 10. So you can look up here, you have 0.4, or that's 4 1/100ths times 100. You're like, well, let's set this up vertically and try to multiply. And we say 0.04 times 100, and you're like, oh, I gotta go ahead and multiply this. I'm gonna have to, but you know what? X, we don't have to do that. This is so easy. Powers of 10 are nice. 0.04. We're multiplying by 100. What I want you to do is to pay attention to this, these two zeros. When you pay attention to that, when you multiply by 100, you just move the decimal twice to the right and replace it. So your answer is going to be 4.0, or you could have 4. Easy. Using the flip video, you can see that some of the kids really jumped up in their grades. Student A jumping from an F to a B minus in their quiz, and they're going from a D minus to a B minus in their testing. All across the board, looking at the class average, going from C minus to B minus, it's great. Student A, which held a high average, didn't change much, but didn't drop either. It wasn't hindering that student from doing well, and the worksheets allowed for the kids that were doing well with their math skills to kind of cruise ahead. So I think this is awesome, and I'm very happy with the results, and will continue to explore this method of teaching. Teaching in this manner does take some time commitment, and you can look at the chart over here. There's a lot of hours involved in making this work, but you're building a library when you do this, and that is something that I had to keep in mind, saying that, in the future, this will save me some time. Right now, it is a super strong commitment to making these planned videos, but the results, I really enjoyed seeing what happened, and I think the kids enjoyed it too. Let me show you what they said. The kids seem to enjoy this. You can see the results here. I have all the survey questions listed out in front of you. And the key is right here. 1 would be strongly agree, 5 would be strongly disagree. And you can see this whole side over here, there's really no disagreement. The kids really enjoyed them. So especially this one, it was nice to be able to repeat a video. 4 out of 5, I really enjoyed that. Also, flipped learning was fun and helpful in learning math skills. There's 3 kids out of 5. I think that's great. Easy to follow. 2 out of 3. 2 out of 5, I should say. So I think the results showed the kids really enjoyed it. We'll take a look at the professional analyzation. I asked 8 professionals to give me their feedback, and they did a wonderful job also, being honest and candid. And you can see out of the 8, I have a strong siding with agreeing with this project. Right here, this project is appropriate for junior high students. I believe so too, especially with math. You could do this with other subjects, but I think it lends itself to math really easily. Students would be interested in this. We saw that with the chart before. Right here we have the worksheet was helpful and informative for skill practice. You can be your own judge on that, but I think it really showed in the kids' test scores and their quiz scores that they're able to learn. And up here is interesting. I hope you're interested in this. It's great. After doing this project, I concluded that students have more time, and that equates into a stronger chance for better understanding. Based on the student survey and teacher survey, the flipped learning was enjoyable for the subjects, and that can help in learning. When students come to school prepared, having been preloaded with the information, they will engage in class discussion and projects more readily than if they don't understand things. I think this is a great improvement. I recommend that teachers try teaching this way and see if it doesn't change how their students acquire knowledge in their classroom setting. I think it's great that that I taught this way, and I want to continue teaching this way in my classroom. and it's important to keep an open mind about this type of teaching. But one of the greatest things that I have to stress and recommend is the time commitment to do this type of project for teaching. It's worth every minute that you put into it. Whatever way you can get into it, via highly elaborate videos or very simple, just try it. I say just try it and you will not be disappointed. Thanks for watching my video. Just wanted to let you know where the rest of them are for my classes, Mr. Henry Ed 1 on YouTube. Take a look at those. I appreciate you taking the time to listen to this presentation. God bless.